You know they don't deserve your love. Your friends know it. Your family knows it, even you know it. But knowing and feeling are different things. You can't just decide to stop loving someone. Your brain doesn't work like that, but it can be trained. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the detachment protocol. Not spiritual bypassing, not positive thinking, not pretending you don't care, the actual neuroscience of emotional distancing. Step by step. First, you need to understand why willpower doesn't work. When you love someone, your brain creates neural pathways, highways of association. Their name triggers dopamine. Their voice creates comfort. Their presence releases oxytocin. This isn't weakness. This is biology. Research from the University of Colorado found that romantic attachment activates the same brain regions as cocaine addiction. The same regions. So, when you try to just stop loving them, you're trying to quit an addiction through willpower alone. And we know how well that works for addicts. It doesn't. Because you can't think your way out of a neurological pattern. You have to rewire it. And rewiring takes a protocol. Not motivation. Not inspiration. Not one good cry and you're done. A systematic process. Here's how it works. Step 1. Stop feeding the neural pathways. Every time you check their social media, every time you drive by their place, every time you reread old messages, you're feeding the addiction. You're reinforcing the neural highways, making it harder to detach. Here's what neuroplasticity research shows us. Neural pathways that aren't used begin to weaken. Use it or lose it, but it takes time. Approximately 66 days for a new pattern to become automatic. That's the average from a study at University College London. So, for 66 days, you're in withdrawal. Not from the person, from the dopamine they represented. This is why no contact works. Not because they don't deserve to hear from you, but because your brain needs to stop getting its fix. Every text you send restarts the clock. Every Instagram story you watch feeds the addiction. Every coincidental run activates the neural pathway. You're not being cold, you're being clinical. Treating an addiction with the seriousness it deserves. Step 2. Document the reality, not the fantasy. Your brain is lying to you. It's showing you highlight reels. The good moments, the potential you saw, the person they could have been. This is called euphoric recall. Your brain filters out the pain. Emphasizes the pleasure. Creates a false narrative. Addicts do this with drugs. You're doing it with a person. So, you counter it with documentation. Write down what actually happened, not what could have happened, not what you wish happened, not the potential you saw. What they actually did, the times they lied, the times they chose themselves over you, the times you compromised your values, the times you felt small around them, every time you romanticized them. You read this, not to stay angry, but to stay accurate, because your brain will try to pull you back into the fantasy. Documentation is your anchor to reality. Step 3. Redirect the attachment energy. You have all this emotional energy. It was directed at them. Now it's floating, unattached, looking for somewhere to go. If you don't redirect it consciously, it will drift back to them, because that's the established pathway. So, you give it somewhere else to go, not another person. That's just transferring the addiction. You redirect it to yourself, your body, your goals, your neglected friendships, your abandoned hobbies. Research on habit formation shows that replacing a behavior works better than just stopping it. So, you're not just stopping loving them, you're starting loving something that actually deserves it. Yourself. This isn't narcissism. It's survival, because you can't heal what you don't attend to. And you've been attending to them for too long. Step 4. Accept the grief without fighting it. Here's what nobody tells you about detachment. It hurts. Not in the beginning. The beginning is numb. It's mechanical. It's following the steps. But somewhere around week 3, the grief hits. Not grief for them. Grief for what you invested. Grief for the time you can't get back. Grief for the version of yourself that believed This is normal. This is necessary. Psychologist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross identified grief as a process. Not a moment, a process, and trying to skip it extends it. So, you sit with it, not forever, but for as long as it needs. You don't perform positivity. You don't rush healing. You don't judge yourself for feeling. You just feel it. Because grief that's allowed to exist eventually transforms into acceptance, and acceptance is where detachment lives. So, what happens when you follow the protocol? Around week 4, something shifts. You wake up and they're not your first thought. Not because you forced it, because your brain found new pathways. Around week 8, you see them differently. Not as who you needed them to be, but as who they actually were. And it's less painful than you thought, because you're not fighting anymore. Not fighting to keep them, not fighting to forget them. Not fighting yourself for feeling. You're just ... separate. They're over there, you're over here, and that's okay. This is what detachment actually is. Not hatred, not indifference, not pretending they never mattered, just peace with distance. You stop trying to make them deserve your love. You stop waiting for them to change. You stop hoping for closure. You just let go. And that space they occupied, it fills with something better. Yourself. The detachment protocol isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming free. More on emotional independence next time.